It's a beautiful day in South Central Pennsylvania.
It's cold.
It's dark.
It was hot girl summer.
Now, it's time for sad boy winter.
Time to curl up by the fire and read some Russian literature.
Time to listen to Drake and cry a little.
Time to cry a lot. This is The Nervous Boys.
When the weather knew my name, I was measured by the rain and found those sudden sunny days so artificial. Good neighbors on the train, mediocre acres for rain by freight, the wooden days of love without appraisal. Running east to west, but nothing's official.
Hello, and welcome to The Nervous Boys, a podcast for school children that are struggling a little bit, and their mom's getting a little worried about them, but deep down inside, they're just scared to go to school every day because the kids don't like them, and how are they going to make friends?
It's because little Billy smells bad.
Little Billy's never taken a shower.
No, he has never taken a shower in his life.
But he's going to make it one day.
One day.
You tease him now, but 12 years from now,
He'll be your boss.
he'll be CEO of Taco Bell.
He will be CEO of Taco Bell, at least your local franchise. He'll be the franchise owner.
He'll be the regional manager.
Yes, assistant to the regional manager.
Oh, that's an office joke, Ryan.
Yeah, I know. I feel like I need to take a shower now. I'm Ryan Dennehy, by the way.
And I'm Nathan Willison.
We are the titular Nervous Boys.
We're the lovable curmudgeons.
Is that what we are now?
Yes.
Okay. We're the lovable curmudgeons. Nate, I want to talk to you about something, now that we're talking about school children,
Okay.
that's been giving me some anxiety lately.
Please,
Okay,
go ahead.
I really want to open up here and be honest and really have my feelings heard and felt. Are you ready for that?
No,
Okay,
but
well,
hit me with it
I
anyway.
thought this was a safe space, but okay.
It's not.
So, my one friend at college, she is an education major, and it will occasionally send out these snaps of children's names in her classes. And
Okay.
I'm going to give you two names that she sent out today, and I want you to guess how they're said, okay? I'm going to spell them for you, okay?
Okay.
S-S-S-S-T. How do you pronounce that? Triforest.
What?
Yes, forest, because there are four S's and it ends in a T.
I want to fight Forrest's mom
Okay.
or dad.
I have another one
both.
for you.
Okay.
JKMN.
I'm not even going to try.
Noel. Because they skipped over the L.
Okay. That one's actually, I give that person
It's a
props.
clever pun, but like as a name, that poor child.
Like, is that their birth name?
That is their name.
Their Christian name?
That is their, I mean, I don't know if they're Christian or not, but it's their name. It is what they are known as in this universe and all universes forever. How does that make you feel, Nate? I really want to... I mean, I've been struggling with this personally. It's been harming my brain psyche.
Yeah. I've been thinking a lot recently about, like, whether such a thing as, like, fate exists.
Okay, wow,
But
where is
I
this
think-
coming from?
I think with those two people, they're like, their fate's already been decided.
What is their fate?
Just to, like, constantly be questioning their family and who they are as a person.
Oh, you mean the child. You mean the child.
Yes.
Speaking of questioning fate and existence and big questions, what's our topic for today, Nate?
We're going to talk about the afterlife and ghosts.
The afterlife specifically. We're going to prove the existence of God today.
Yes, in this 45-minute podcast.
To an hour.
To an
to
hour.
40 minutes.
Yeah.
To 38 minutes occasionally.
Yep.
Somewhere in there.
We're going to talk about ghosts, and we're going to talk about stuff that frightens us.
Specifically specters, ghouls, and spooky, scary boys.
And goblins.
Goblins. Those goblins, they freak me out. You have no idea. I hear the word goblin, and I personally just, I'm shaking in my moccasins.
Your booties.
My booties. I wear baby booties.
Yes, as do I.
On that note, Nate, let's first talk about our personal fears. What scares you, Nate? And we're not talking about like big, like, oh, debt or oh, I'm afraid of the tax man, or I'm
Yeah.
afraid of death, or something like that. Like what's a fear you have? Heights, etc.
Tangible fear. I was actually going to make a joke, but you kind of ruined it.
Yeah, screw you, Nate. Comedy has to come from my end.
I was going to say dying alone in bears.
I get that. I'm very afraid of bears not dying alone.
Let me explain. I don't actually fear bears, but I do fear dying from a bear.
Hey, Nate, what was our high school mascot?
It was the bears. And it wasn't like, oh, I see a mascot bear and I'm instantly like shaking. No, it's just that the concept of dying from a wild animal, it just seems like demoralizing and like the most humiliating way to die. As humans, we've conquered this planet. We can go to space. We've invented electricity. We're coming up with renewable power sources. We've split the atom. But put a human in a room with a goddamn bear, and they're worthless.
I think you've won me over to this fear. I think I'm afraid of bears now, too. But I want to go back around to the whole high school thing. I'd like to think that this fear has come from your experiences in high school. And also, you were not afraid of our high school mascot. That thing was kind of terrifying. The head didn't fit on right,
No.
and it looked like it constantly wanted to just do something bad.
The head almost seemed like it was going to constantly like fall off.
Yeah, isn't that terrifying in
Yeah.
itself? What's scarier than a bear? A headless bear
Yeah.
that's still alive and also has an elementary school gym teacher underneath it. Like, that's terrifying to
Or
me.
one of your classmates that you really don't like.
Exactly. Oh, God. No. Ugh. Yuck. Gross. Now I'm more disgusted than I am afraid. I'm very disgusted.
Okay, so I've described maybe not my fear of bears, but apprehension for them. Ryan, what are you afraid of?
I'm personally,
Yeah.
myself, I am deathly afraid of... I actually have to think about this. Hold on, let me think. I am not afraid of anything, personally. I'm a real person, unlike you. So I
No.
have no fear.
That is a lie.
That is a lie. I'm deathly afraid of a lot of things. I will say I have, like, not really a fear of any one specific thing, like spiders or snakes. Like, I get nervous around animals and stuff that I know can kill me, or, like, if I go up to a ledge that doesn't have a railing, like...
Heights don't bother me.
See, heights don't bother me unless I'm at the height and I look up, because then I lose like this connection to my feet, and as long as I'm spatially aware, so if I look up I can't see this ledge or my relationship to it. Like, I know in my heart's heart and in my mind's mind that I'm like a foot away from the edge, but I look up and to me I'm thinking, holy crap, my feet are gonna step off of that. I feel this desire to just go for it.
It's desire. Oh, goodness, Ryan.
Well, no, it's like my feet desire.
I
If
know.
my feet have minds, they just want to walk off. But I have this thing where, like, if it's late at night, you know, and like it's like getting pretty dark and there's like a corner of a room or something where there could be something silhouetted, I have this terrible fear that there's going to be a man there who's come to rob me of all of my goodies.
In your college dorm?
I mean, in, like, my house or in my college dorm, less so in my college dorm, because they're like 80 people living in this building with me.
Yeah.
So if I let out my little girly scream, they would hear.
Can you please give us a demonstration?
No.
Okay.
Screw you, Nate. I'm not afraid of you. When I'm really afraid, I'll let it out. That'll be the day you know I'm going to die, because you'll hear it. You'll hear it and you'll think, oh God, Ryan said it, this day would come, and it
Yes.
has finally.
I finally succeeded.
Oh, so you're going to be the one who's going to kill me?
Maybe.
Nate, I'm not afraid of you. Even if you did kill me, I would laugh at you the whole time.
I don't think that's true.
I would.
I think you've actually said in the past that you're afraid of me.
No, of all of our friends, I'm not afraid of you. I am, however, afraid of our dear friend Emma.
Yes, I get that.
She's a lovely person, but she also is, she could kick my ass
Probably.
in many ways. I'm very afraid of her. I'm also afraid of women in general. Not really. But I thought that would be a funny joke, but it just came out sounding a little bit sexist. I'm sorry.
It's just the delivery.
I'm really trying to mine this comedy gold here, my personal fears. We were talking the other day, Nate and I, about
Yes.
sleep paralysis and sleep demons,
Yes.
and that actually does really scare me.
We had a very interesting conversation.
It was
Ryan,
brought on by watching the film The Lighthouse.
Yes, which didn't have anything to do with that, but
No.
we just talked about scary stuff in general.
If anything, that movie aroused me. Just looking at Willem Dafoe the whole time. That man, his goblin face. Speaking of goblins, yuck, gross. But Willem Dafoe's goblin face, he pulls it off.
His green goblin face.
He's pulling that look back, the goblin look,
The goblin look.
that toothy grin. Can you imagine just a little on that mouth?
That's charisma right there.
That is charisma. That's sex appeal, really.
Anyway, back on topic.
Back on topic. Sleep paralysis demons. Back on topic on this show, where usually we talk about new experiences we have, even though we don't really do that. Is our experience this time just like ghosts, or is it ghost hunting?
It's a little bit of both.
It's a little bit of both.
Let's talk about your
topic.
sleep
Back on
paralysis.
topic. This is really important, Nate. I'm sorry. Stop getting us off topic, Nate. Come on. We're talking about sleep paralysis demons.
Talk about your sleep paralysis demon, Ryan.
I have to talk about mine?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like being that vulnerable. I thought you were going to talk about yours.
You first.
Okay, so I don't have sleep paralysis, right? I guess I kind of do. Like, I'll wake up and it'll be in the room I'm in, but it'll clearly be a dream. Like, I can't actually see what's going on in my room, because I'll know that, like, I'll fall asleep, for example, in a room where the lights are still on and people are still moving around, and then in the dream it'll be dark and everybody will be asleep, but I'll wake up again and it'll be the same condition that it was before. But I have this thing where I'll fall asleep, and then I'll wake up and it'll be in the room or whatever that I'm in, and it'll be all dark except for at the end of my bed, where there's like this guy, and he's covered in this like black oil sludge, you know? And it kind of makes him look like a dark silhouette, but he occasionally is like greasy and shiny. You can tell he's greasy, and he has like hair that's like 8 inches long, but it's in straight segments that just kind of stick out of his hair, and they're like completely covered in this oil.
That's terrifying.
And he doesn't have whites of his eyes. It's just these two. What's the colored part of your eye called?
Iris.
Your iris. It's just two bright yellow irises, like Madame Hooch in the Harry Potter universe, and it's just white teeth on his mouth, and he's laughing at me hysterically. And he just kind of holds it at the end of my bed, and he laughs at me. And the whole time, I know for a fact during these dreams nothing but that he is going to murder me and everyone I know.
Is he naked?
It's hard to tell because he's covered in oil. I never see the lower half of his body, but I somehow know in my head that he's like hunched over, kind of almost in the fetal position, but like not. Like, imagine Spider-Man, but terrifying.
Well.
Are you afraid of Spider-Man normally?
No.
Okay.
I was going to offer my Freudian analysis, but
Yes,
I need
please.
more evidence.
Oh, you need more evidence?
Yes. If he was naked, I could give you one right away.
Well, I mean, if it's Freud, clearly. Yeah, I mean, it's about how I have womb envy or something.
Yes. You're frightened of your dad.
I'm frightened of my dad, so I imagine this oily boy.
Yes. Okay, I do have to say, when Ryan first explained this to me, I have dubbed this creature the oily boy.
Yes, that is Nate's trademark, the oily boy.
I have trademarked it, yes. I went down to the patent office.
And he drew them a picture with crayon and said, I own this, now please give me patent.
Yes.
Nate, tell me about your experiences with sleep paralysis demons.
Okay. I occasionally, not recently, but I used to get sleep paralysis. And during the actual sleep paralysis itself, I wouldn't really see anything. I would just I couldn't move from my bed. I'd think a certain thought or something, and it would just kind of go on repeat in my head over and over and over again and get louder and louder and louder until my own thoughts are screaming at me pretty much.
This is terrifying.
Yes. And it would be a different thing every time. I would just
You would see a heffalump and a woozle,
No.
and you'd be very confused.
hilarious. No,
Oh, come on, you appreciate the Winnie the Pooh jokes.
not that one.
Oh, why not? But Winnie the Pooh, he's the world's famous comedian. It goes Jerry Seinfeld, some other schmuck, and then Winnie the Pooh. Sorry, go back to
This
your
was a
story.
good bit.
I know, I'm really proud of it. I'm really on my comedy game today. That hiatus, I was just developing my comedy.
Yep. So I wouldn't see anything in actual sleep paralysis, but I would have a reoccurring dream with this thing that multiple people have seen. It's called the Hat Man. It's basically the silhouette of a guy in a wide brim hat and maybe an overcoat or something. And he would just...
So Dick Tracy?
Yeah, actually. That's not a bad visual.
So Spooky Dick Tracy.
Spooky Dick Tracy is in my bedroom.
Spooky Dick Tracy and the Oily Boys is the name of my ska band.
So yeah, basically, it's a real thing. You can look it up on the internet. Apparently multiple people have had it. But yeah, he would just appear in the corner of my room. I had this one dream. I was sitting in my bathroom. I don't know why. I think I was fully clothed. But he just kind of appeared in the doorway and pointed at me very menacingly.
But you can't see any details. It's just a complete void of light.
It's a silhouette, but you can tell he has a face. And it's three-dimensional. It's a three-dimensional shadow, if that makes any sense.
So in the Brendan Fraser film The Mummy, when the mummy makes his face out of sand, that but dark.
Sure.
I'm going to say yes. Everybody, that's fact now. Listen, everybody, psychologists, psychiatrists, scholars, listeners, parents, children, bus drivers, all the types of people that I just listed, which are the only types of people. Also tax collectors, because I'm afraid of them. That is fact now in psychoanalysis. The Hat Man is the mummy from the Brendan Fraser film The Mummy, but dark and scarier, and also goes to your bathroom?
I don't know.
Is he just a dirty, dirty boy? I feel like he's
have no
just
idea.
a dirty, dirty boy.
I just had this series of reoccurring dreams for maybe like a year or like a year and a half.
What was happening in your life in this year? Were you afraid of bears then as well?
No.
Did a bear kill your mother and you had these dreams about a Hat Man that could have saved her? Were you the Hat Man?
Yes. The Hat Man is me in the future. But
Come back to accuse you in the past?
of not saving somebody from a bear.
That's terrifying and also kind of sad. Also, why is you from the future such a dick?
It's because me right now is such a dick.
I can attest to that. Nate is the worst person I know, including me. That's a lie. Nate is a lovely, lovely boy.
Oh, thank you. Anyway, let's talk about more scary stuff.
Let's talk about more scary stuff. Let's talk about the scariest thing I can think of off the top of my head. And I'm not lying. I did once have a nightmare about these things.
Okay.
The Minions.
You had a nightmare about the Minions.
Listen,
Please explain in detail.
they're everywhere.
Yes.
They've already infiltrated our society, our children's lives. Now people our age's lives who do it for the memes. It's terrifying. I had this dream where Stuart and Kevin and Bob, I think their names, they can't. Don't judge me for knowing their names.
Are they the Minions from the Minions movie?
I want to say they're the main
Those are the
ones.
3 specifically, yeah.
They came to life, all of their toys and merchandise, and it was just so much that they piled on top of and suffocated all of the world's leaders. And from that, Stuart took over China, Bob took over Russia, and the other one, who I already forgot his name, took over America.
Kyle? Is it Kyle?
Kyle, maybe, I think. Kyle. It took over America. And so it wasn't really like they took over the world, like, killing people or something. They only killed these world leaders and their subordinates, but they are ruling in fear. So imagine a bunch of these minions in, like, Gestapo uniforms walking around the United States.
Oh, that is terrifying.
It is terrifying. And imagine them in their, like, minions speak. In my head, I had this image of, like, Stuart as Hitler doing the Hitler gesticulations, but with the banana, etc.
Yeah.
It was a really weird dream.
Okay, you need to write this down and pitch it to Paramount or whoever makes
I think it's
Minion
Blue
movies.
Sky or DreamWorks or
It's
something.
Illumination, I just remembered.
Oh, Illumination, the crappy animation company.
Yes.
They're on my shit list of companies.
Just because of the Minions?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm terrified of them now. I'm so afraid that the Mussolini minion will come and take over.
The Mussolini Minion.
The Mussolini minion. This got real dark, and
yeah.
I'm real scared, Nate, now, and
That's what this episode's all about. This episode's about true fear, and we've experienced it right now.
It's about Is this therapy?
It is.
Is this what therapy is? Because my anxiety, I am truly a nervous boy right now, because in my head, I have this image. Oh, God. Stuart. Why Stuart? Also, a minion with a mustache just does not look good.
No.
It's terrifying.
I think somebody should make those Russian propaganda posters, but replace Stalin with minions.
Yes.
Yes.
What is that, Soviet realism or something?
Yeah.
Oh, God, that sounds excellent. Where they have, like, the workers, and it's all of the people, and they're like harvesting corn, but the kernels of corn are all of the minions.
Oh, minions grow like plants?
I guess. Either that or we make them as plushes in the factory.
You make them in vats.
You make them in vats. I like that. You make them in vats. You just kind of stew up a big old tasty stew of the world's conquerors.
Oh, yes.
Tasty, tasty. This episode's about ghosts.
Yes, but we've gotten onto minions.
We've gotten on to minions.
In Soviet realism for the second episode in a row.
Really? Did we talk about that in the last episode?
Oh, yeah.
By the way, I want to mention, I'm sorry for our very long break. We went on a journey, a ghost hunting journey, that took us on some unexpected paths. And let's just say that things got a little crazy.
Just a little bit.
Just a little crazy. So that's where we've been for the last month before the last episode.
Yeah.
And I apologize for that break, but really the FBI just didn't let us leave for a long time there. This is actually the first day we've been out of detainment.
Yes.
Since then.
First time we saw sunlight in over a month.
Exactly, and let me tell you, it's kind of overrated, sunlight.
Yeah.
I'm afraid of sunlight, too. I'm afraid of a lot of things, actually. I retract my past statement where I said I'm afraid of nothing, and I'd like to replace that with the statement, I'm afraid of everything, because that's more close to the truth.
I get that, yeah. Anyway.
Do you believe in ghosts, Nate?
I was about to ask you the same question. I am on the fence. I have never experienced anything myself. I did have one weird incident. I think I was just like in that weird state of you're awake, but you're still dreaming.
Was it the Dark Man?
No.
Did Liam Neeson come to you? Liam Neeson plays the Dark Man, right?
Yeah,
I'm full of the pop culture references today that nobody's going to think are funny.
That movie from the 90s?
Yes, the greatest superhero movie of all time, Dark Man.
Yeah.
I don't believe in ghosts. I think that they are a way to explain why people have irrational fears of things that do not exist.
Yeah.
Like the dark, etc.
Here's my stance on ghosts. I don't think you can say for sure. Like, it's one of those things where science will probably never be able to prove or disprove that there are ghosts. There's always going to be people that are diehard believers, for sure. And I think having that interest and having it as like a hobby is not a bad thing. Because there's some smart...
But if it dominates your life...
If it dominates your life, and ghost hunting's basically like an industry now.
I mean, it's a media industry, yeah.
Well, not only that, but it's like haunted locations are tourist attractions now. I think in some places, if your house is haunted, the value of your house can actually go up.
See, I just can't imagine... I'm sure there are people, but every time, I like going to haunted houses, I like going on ghost tours and stuff, because I think it's kind of fun, but every time I go there, I think, oh, this is a script, they've established it, it's a way to entertain me in the way that I watch, Rosemary's Baby or something, but I don't necessarily believe that the devil came and had sex with Mia Farrow and produced a demon child. Unless you count Woody Allen as the devil. I know, topical joke, right? Yeah.
That was a long setup for that.
But I that was actually improvised on the spot, Nate. My comedy bones are getting real strong. I got all that comedy calcium in them.
Well, the comedy juice is flowing through your veins.
Exactly. But I can't imagine going to a Gettysburg ghost tour and thinking, wow, really? There are dead soldiers haunting this. Oh my goodness. This is spooky, because instead I think, oh, look, there's a really interesting war monument, or, oh, this is where Pickett's Charge was.
Honestly, ghost tours, for me, are interesting because of the history.
Exactly. That's what I care about.
They're a way to talk about, interesting history that, you wouldn't normally hear on a tour.
Yeah.
I do think the concept of a ghost intrigues me. Mainly because the whole idea that energy can't be lost.
So you're ghost agnostic.
I'm ghost agnostic.
You're ghost agnostic.
I don't know.
See,
I know some smart people that believe in ghosts.
But smart people believe in dumb stuff all the time. I know plenty of smart people who... I'm sorry. I'm going to antagonize some of our audience at some point if this ever gets a broad audience. I'm sorry. People take astrology and horoscopes seriously, and I know plenty of smart people who think, I don't really believe in horoscopes, but I'm definitely a Virgo. That to me is the same thing as ghosts.
You make a good point. I don't believe in astrology or any of that.
Exactly.
Because that, I think, is that's exploitative for sure.
What's the difference between... It's exploitative to the dead people, too. That's the one thing about, especially, battlefield ghost tours. To me, if my ancestor had passed away at one of those things, and again, I'm just talking out of my ass here, and I'm sorry if I offend people, take my word with this grain of salt, because I don't know what I'm talking about. But if I had an ancestor who passed away at Gettysburg or something... I don't know, if somebody was just they're walking around here now, I'd think, no, they died here because of this. It's just, this is it. They're here, they're dead. I can look at this monument here of their unit and say, hey, that's it right there. They're not over there at the camp, still walking around making beans, acting out that scene from Blazing Saddles. I'm just going to keep going with these pop culture references, everybody.
Oh, boy.
I hope you're ready.
They're not.
Next segment, I'm going to do exclusively art house films. If you haven't seen The Tree of Life 20 times, you're not going to get anything I say in the second half.
Most people probably don't know what The Tree of Life is.
Those people?
I've never even seen it.
Oh, wow. Nate. You make me sad, Nate.
Thank you, Ryan.
And scared. I am scared of you now.
Good.
He's looming over me with a knife right now.
As I usually am.
As he always is.
Anyway, with ghosts and stuff, why do you think people believe in them then?
I think it's the same thing as... I mean, it's not the same thing exactly as religion, because I think there's a lot more history and cultural context to religion. Astrology is a good parallel, I think.
Some people consider astrology a religion.
Okay, I'm going to talk about it as tabloid astrology. It's a way for people to categorize certain phenomena in their life in a way that is easily digestible and explainable to them. If I act this way, I'm not responsible for my own actions. It's the stars who say it. If a pot falls on the ground over in my kitchen in the middle of the night when no one's over there, it's not because maybe I didn't set that on the edge correctly, or because my cabinet has a slight slant in it, or because there's a draft or something. It's because there's a ghost there. Or, oh, I think because my grandmother died 7 years ago and my hair's getting long, she knocked the scissors off the counter. It's that kind of thing.
Yeah. I think people use it as like a comforting thing. Because if there's a ghost...
Oh yeah, it provides catharsis
Yeah.
for a lot of people who need it, and I don't want to discredit it for that.
Yeah.
I think that it serves a point there, but like ghost hunters...
Yeah, we'll get into that in a second. It's definitely comforting to know, because if there's ghosts, then that means there's an afterlife. And if, people find that comforting, that means that their family members are still looking out over them and can interact with them in some way, leave them little signs and messages. And people like that. I think the concept of ghosts serves some kind of purpose. That's why there's so much, literature about it. That's why it shows up in Shakespeare over and over.
It shows up in Shakespeare as a plot device, because Hamlet wouldn't be nearly as good unless he saw a spooky, spooky ghost.
So, we have a very special sponsor this episode. We're sponsored by the hit off-Broadway musical, Tricky Dick, The Life and Times of Richard Nixon.
Now, this musical, like Hamilton, to a greater extent even, takes some liberties with the life of Richard Nixon, our beloved ex-president.
Yes. Richard Nixon, he's a cultural icon in America, and yet people don't fully understand him, just like Alexander Hamilton.
Exactly. So what this show seeks to do is put Richard Nixon in a new context. And what they do to do this is present a ton of conspiracy theories related to him as absolute truth. And they come up with some of their own, and I think it creates this really great narrative.
Me too. Richard Nixon, I'd never thought of him in this light before, but now he's truly one of my heroes.
Exactly. And I personally relate to him a lot. That whole segment about him trying to get rid of the Democratic Party because they were trying to stop the aliens from invading from the moon.
Yes.
That part really rang true to me because he was defending our homeland. In this case, it was the Earth, not just America, but that's even more impressive.
I was really impressed by the scenes about the fake moon landing.
I was too. They were really well done. And also the love story between Richard Nixon and Stanley Kubrick. I think that was a really bold and daring move.
It was unexpected, but truly it was probably the most passionate and intense love affair I've ever seen on stage.
And let me tell you, I've seen Spring Awakening many times, and this was some of the most sexually charged music I have ever heard, some of the most sexually charged choreography, and some of the most sexually charged performances. The fact that they got Robert Redford out of retirement to perform as Richard Nixon was an awkward choice, but I think it really was a good one.
It was. And Paul Giamatti as Stanley Kubrick.
You'd think
He
that their
was
roles
fabulous.
would be flipped, but...
Yeah.
I think that Robert Redford's experience, specifically in All the President's Men, made him relate to the character a lot more.
He's got that history.
I also thought it was weird when they related it back to World War II.
Yes.
I didn't know that the history went that deep.
Neither did I, that the moon landing conspiracy goes all the way back to the Nazis.
I didn't know that, but I guess it does.
Yeah, and the plot twist where JFK turned out to be a secret Nazi,
That was insane
That
to
was
me.
insane.
I don't know how they're not getting sued for libel for this.
I think it's because it's true.
Oh wow, Nate. That's That's bold. Go see Tricky Dick Nixon. It's on Broadway right now, or
Off-Broadway.
it's off Broadway right
They're
now.
going to get there eventually.
They're gonna get there eventually. You can order your tickets online.
Yeah, get them while you can still get them, you know? Soon, everybody's going to be lining up to see Tricky Dick.
Lin-Manuel Miranda showed up to the opening performance, and he was so impressed that apparently he was crying during the entire second act and kept saying, "Why, God, why?" And I think it's because he realized that there was a musical that was so much better than Hamilton.
I think he was just so impressed, and he was also impressed by the legal maneuvers they've done so that he can't sue them.
Exactly. It was beautiful. Go see Tricky Dick and get a good dicking. This episode is brought to you by Jedediah's Gym, the bodybuilding gym for the Amish.
Are you looking to raise a barn?
Are you looking to get swole as hell?
Well, you've come to the right place, because you can't raise a barn without raising those pythons.
Now, I haven't gone to this gym myself, Nate, because I'm not Amish and it's very exclusive, but I've heard that the beard squats, where they attach a dumbbell to the beard of the gentleman or lady who's working out there, and will go down and help them improve their chin strength. Now, the lady beards are obviously, they're just strapped onto them because they won't do that. And for the younger lads who haven't grown a beard yet,
Haven't gotten married yet.
they attach the dumbbell to their bowl cut.
It is a sight to be seen. I prefer the butter churn exercises.
They really give you a full body workout, cardio.
Yes, the core. My core is fully blasted.
You've gone.
I've gone.
Are you Amish now?
I was just a guest.
Oh, you were a guest.
I had to sneak in, though.
And let me tell you, the intramural volleyball league that they have at this gym too is really impressive.
Yeah, I didn't know the Amish had such hops.
They do. They can jump quite a lot. I saw an Amish bodybuilder, Jedediah himself, the other day, do a 10-foot vertical leap. And I think in that moment, I was Amish. I was brought over to their side. I think I'm Amish now.
Me too. I think I'm just going to become Amish just so I can get those gains.
Yeah, you do need to be Amish to get a membership there, and
Yeah.
I think it's worth it.
Oh, definitely.
Jedediah's Gym. Raise a barn, raise those pythons.
This episode is brought to you by Let Bleed, the new urgent care clinic that's sweeping the nation. They specialize in bloodletting and leeches.
It's making a comeback, you know? It's this new age medicine thing, and there's actually some really interesting science behind it, brand new, about balancing these four humors.
I know, it's cutting edge stuff right now.
I've heard that Elon Musk himself developed this.
Yes, right before he went crazy.
The top scientists at Tesla, the car company, decided to get into this, which I didn't really understand, but apparently that's where he's allocated his resources for. And I went to this clinic just for a checkup, and I've never felt more vital and healthy in my life. It does take me 10 minutes to walk up a flight of stairs, but they say that's all part of the process.
Yeah, it's a growing process. You gotta let out the bad to let in the good. I got too much black bile in my body. I don't know what that means, but they tell me I have it. So I have leeches in 4 different places, 6 hours a day. I've named them.
What are their names?
There's Polly on my back. I have Sandra on my leg. And then there's big old Jeff on my neck. He's a thirsty, thirsty lad. And
What about the fourth one?
I forget where he is. But he's on my person right now. I'm just not sure. I can't feel.
I am overjoyed with this clinic and the service they provide. You should go to Let Bleed and let your heart be open to the bloodletting.
Ryan, do you have some apple juice? I'm feeling a little woozy.
I do not. They told me I cannot consume food or drink. I think this is a scheme to kill us. This episode is brought to you in part by a local bar that just opened up. It is a gay bar in the heart of our state's capital, Harrisburg, called Truck You Up. It is specifically for truckers, and they have to be gay truckers. I mean, straight people can go too, but they're going to get hit on a lot.
No, you have to be gay.
You also have to be a
They
trucker.
give you the test when you come in.
They do. The first time I got the gay trucker test, I was a little intimidated because they do make you drive an 18-wheeler while listening to Prince at full volume.
Prince and ABBA.
Yes, it's quite the test, but I think I passed. I now have a boyfriend. His name is Rob, and he is butch as hell.
I did not pass the test. I struck several vehicles, and I don't like ABBA.
Well, you just can't then. You just can't.
I know.
I want to talk about some of the drinks they offer at this place. My favorite one is called the Yellow Whiskey. It is just whiskey served in a glass that has the Yellow Trucking Company logo on it, and it's pretty okay. That's about it. I am underage, so they will be shut down shortly because they don't card. They just make you drive an 18-wheeler while listening to Prince and ABBA very loud.
If you're in the area, check out Truck You Up while you can.
Moving into our second segment, I want to talk a little bit about ghost hunting.
I actually talked to a ghost hunter. Hold on a second. Let me pull up his name because I forget.
Nate is looking at things on his phone because he's not prepared for our podcast. He's not prepared for our podcast.
Fight you, Ryan.
He's not prepared, everybody. This is staying in, Nate. This is staying in.
Super prepared for this podcast.
He was almost super prepared for this
We would have
podcast.
had a whole episode just run by me interviewing a man. But
He's trying to push me out, but he can't
I
because he's
messed
such a
it
schmuck.
up. I am a schmuck. You got that damn right.
He's such a schmuck.
I interviewed a man named Mark Allen Keyes.
Who is Mark Allen Keyes?
Mark Allen Keyes is the president of the Pennsylvania Paranormal Association.
I didn't know that was a thing.
It is. There's multiple paranormal organizations, investigation organizations in the state.
Wait, what is it called? The Pennsylvania...
Paranormal Association.
So it's PAPA.
It's PPA.
Oh, why? They missed out for the PAPA. Well, that's sad. Now I'm disappointed. This episode's over. I'm leaving. I'm sad now.
So Mark Allen Keyes is an interesting guy. He's a former state police detective.
Oh, so he knows his stuff.
So he knows his stuff, and now he's a private investigator, and in his spare time, he investigates ghosts.
So this guy, like, does he actually believe in ghosts, or did it give off the, idea?
He actually believes in ghosts.
He
yeah.
actually believes in ghosts.
Yes, and psychic phenomenon.
So what kind, did he tell you about any of his cases he's been on, anything he's done?
Yes, if you go on the Pennsylvania Paranormal Association website, they have like a whole list of cases that you can investigate. They had a very interesting one. Mark Allen Keyes has written 2 books about his experiences, and he said probably the most memorable investigation he's ever been on is the Upper Darby poltergeist, which was like this family home in Upper Darby Township, which is up north. Was experiencing paranormal phenomena. His team came in with a psychic, and they investigated and concluded that there was like a whole bunch of ghosts and a possible demon.
A possible demon. What's the difference between a ghost and a demon? How can you tell the difference?
A ghost is the soul of a dead person. A demon is an evil entity that it was not a person.
Ah, the more you know.
Yes. I think he described it as like a dark and malevolent spirit, so it could have been like the ghost of somebody that wanted to harm this family in some way. So his team investigated. They brought in a psychic, and they were able to link the ghost to the family doing like some voodoo stuff.
Oh, okay. I want to talk about this then, the whole voodoo thing afterwards.
We should, yeah.
We should.
He ended up having enough interesting stuff to write a whole book about it, and he said that like he had some of the best evidence that they've ever found there. They had like a full body apparition they captured on camera. They had a bunch of
Have you seen this full body apparition?
I did not.
Well, okay then.
And he had like a bunch of audio clips and files of apparently voices that they had caught, which I did listen to some of those.
What did they sound like? Did they sound like the normal thing where it's like a really loud like That was my ghost audio.
Yeah. It possibly sounded like somebody speaking. I don't know. It's impossible to tell whether that stuff is genuine or not.
So do you believe more in ghosts now than you did before you talked to him? Or
Well, I
did
thought
this
it
whole
was-
experience just kind of like turn you off to the whole ghost thing?
It's kind of made me have more questions than answers, because he does seem like a very smart and genuine person, clearly has experience investigating stuff. And he does seem to honestly believe that in ghosts and in psychic phenomenon, because psychics always confuse me, like how a person decides that they're psychic.
They don't decide. They actually are, Nate. Come on. You act like you don't believe in this.
We'll get into that in a second, but... And he seems genuine, and like he genuinely wants to help people, because we talked about like the ghost hunters on TV and how they're kind of exploitative. Like they're doing it for money, and they often like shoot their stuff and then leave and never talk to those people again. He apparently works with these families so that they're happy with their experience and that they're confident that the ghosts or spirits or demons or whatever are gone. So he's almost providing a service for these people.
See, that's kind of nice, though, because, like, if these people believe so much, it doesn't matter necessarily if you believe in or not, but, like, he's at least helping people ease their worries about this one thing that they believe in, whether or not it's real or not.
Yeah.
I don't know, that kind of makes me feel good about this.
Yeah, it's not all Zach Baggins running around with a video camera, being like, dude, fight me, ghost. Punch me in the face.
I'll punch you right back, ghost.
Yes.
Fight me. Put him up.
Put him up.
I want to talk about the whole voodoo thing, because that's another thing that kind of turns me off. The fact that a lot of the time, these are related specifically to, like, I'm going to be real woke for a minute here.
Yes.
Like, either racially charged or ethnically charged things. Like, a lot of the time, people relate ghosts back to gypsy or bohemian culture or voodoo or something like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the time, it creates a narrative that isn't necessarily helpful in a cultural context.
Yeah, it definitely does. I grew up Catholic, and in my church library, we had this book on exorcisms that I read when I was like 13 or something. And a lot of that book is like people have problems with demons because of voodoo stuff or like any other religion pretty much other than Christianity. If you're involved in that, a demon will come into your house and possess you.
Yeah, that's a little screwed up. While Nate was doing this actual research, I was doing my own form of ghost hunting, okay? In the best way I knew how. So there's a bit of a story behind this. At the college I go to, I am the technical director for our theater company, so I do the scenic design and I help with the lighting, etc. And there's a narrative that there is a ghost that inhabits our theater named the Leedy Ghost. I don't believe in ghosts. I've said this before, but we were having some real trouble with lighting and a lot of things on the technical side that really wasn't explainable. So after a while, I became convinced that there was some form of daemon or ghost or specter or ghoul inhabiting the space, and I got a little scared.
Ooh, why would the ghost mess with your lighting?
Because it's a dick. Everybody tells stories about this ghost, and they think they'll tell stories, oh, they move this, and they move this, or they'll screw up a production, and all in my head, all these stories, they're not harmful or anything, it's just a massive dick. I shouldn't say I was scared, I was more annoyed than anything. So I thought, I'm going to ward off this spirit. So I did what I knew how to do. I created an effigy of this spirit, and I created a force of good in effigy to ward it off. I got a plank of wood, and I covered it in a piece of canvas and put a fez on it. Drew a smiley face on that canvas as a representation of this ghost, to try to personalize and give it character so I could look at it and say, you're nothing. And after I demoralized the ghost by ridiculing it endlessly, I pulled up a mannequin, and I dressed it up in an old band uniform so it looked like a person of the military to defend the theater against this, and we named him Brigadier General Jeff, because why not? And let me tell you, since Brigadier General Jeff has stood guard, there has not been a single instance of the ghost messing with us. I think that my way of ghost hunting worked.
Wow, the power of positive thinking.
Yes. That's really all it is in the end. Like, what this guy provides is a service where he can work enough to convince these people that this ghost isn't there, unless ghosts are real, and then he actually kills them or something.
I don't know what you do with a ghost. I guess you send it
Haven't
away.
you seen the Ghostbusters? You put it in a little trap.
Box. Yeah. During our conversation, me and this ghost hunter, he brought up the fact that he uses a psychic to communicate with ghosts, which that put up a big question mark for me, because psychic phenomenon and people that claim to be psychic, it just seems to me like a complete scam, and they're just getting people's money out of it.
See, I believe wholeheartedly in psychics. I don't believe in astrology. I don't believe in ghosts, but psychics. They're real. Don't say anything mean about my psychics.
The CIA literally investigated psychics in the 70s and 80s, I think.
That was like when they were investigating televangelists and stuff too. I love those videos where they like expose televangelists, and there's like a CIA guy at this big like conference, and he's like, "Stop! We proved you wrong."
And like, yeah, they were just proven to be fake. Harry Houdini was basically proving psychics to be charlatans back in the early 1900s.
I think we need to bring back the use of the word charlatans more.
Yes.
I would like to accuse people of being charlatans much more often than I do now, which is only about once a day.
There was another guy in James Randi, I think his name was, the Amazing Randy, which is a wonderful name.
The Amazing Randy.
He was a magician, and he was doing the same thing with televangelists, you know, the kind that like point at somebody in the crowd and are like, your mother has syphilis or something.
I'm going to cure it right now.
I'm going to cure it from...
Before you can check.
Yeah, psychics that claim to be able to read people. It's all just...
Claim you mean actually are able to read people?
Yes, actually are able to read people. He showed that they can just use it by using the same techniques that magicians use to read people.
It's all a matter of communication and language good use.
And, you know, saying things, you start off broadly and then you get down to the specifics from there. You kind of, like when you're asking people questions, so you eventually arrive at something that, like, seems shocking, but it really isn't because you can logically get there.
So I know that neither of us really believe in ghosts, but, like, it's one of those weird things. Are you afraid of ghosts? Because, like, sleep paralysis demons and stuff, why are we afraid of those? Is it just the feeling we get in the dream, or is it, like, a similar thing? Because we know those things don't exist, or is it, like a ghost? Is it like a ghost?
Well, I think the reason people are afraid of ghosts and sleep paralysis demons and everything is just somebody's in your space. Like,
So it's a matter of, like, feeling invaded?
Yes. You're afraid your house is haunted because your home is supposed to be the place that you're most safe, and yet there's some invisible thing flying around looking at you that you can't see.
Nate, I had a sudden realization that none of this is funny, and it just got real sad and analytical, and we need to bring it back to the comedy. Is there comedy gold about home invasion?
No. Except Home Alone.
Except for Home Alone. Now, how would Home Alone have been different if, let's say...
Replace Macaulay Culkin with a ghost Macaulay Culkin?
Yes. Replace Macaulay Culkin then with Macaulay Culkin now. Well, Macaulay Culkin from like 4 years ago.
Where he aged 30 years and then de-aged 20 years.
yes. Crack Macaulay Culkin, but like give him like ghost effects and then have him beat up on Joe Pesci.
Now Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci.
Oh, Joe Pesci.
It's just an elderly man.
I would pay to see that movie.
It'd be pretty great, but alas, Macaulay Culkin got his act together. Damn him to hell.
I support Macaulay Culkin. He seems like a sweet man.
He does seem like a sweet man. I want him to be on everything. I want to turn on Grey's Anatomy and see Macaulay Culkin.
He should be in more stuff.
I want to turn on Stranger Things and look, one of the kids, it's Macaulay Culkin. Not Macaulay Culkin from the 90s or crack Macaulay Culkin, but healthy Macaulay Culkin now.
Yeah.
If they can bring back Sean Astin, they can bring back Macaulay Culkin. Hashtag bring back Macaulay Culkin.
I want to see him in the Game of Thrones prequel.
I want to see him retroactively put into Game of Thrones. Like, they can Lucas the Game of Thrones, and in order to make it better, they put in CGI Macaulay Culkins in every scene.
Oh, yeah.
George R.R. Martin made that decision.
Change it so that the dragons can talk, and it's the voice of Macaulay Culkin.
Yes, so much yes, but he does it in the cadence of when he was, like, a little kid. Mac and cheese, just for me. And he, like, burns a town. I hate communal living. There are so many people outside talking right now.
So, werewolves, Ryan. How about them? Do you believe in them?
Hold on, a man just went into the bathroom. We're probably going to be able to hear him urinate. Let's give it a second.
No, let's continue.
Let's continue. Werewolves? I believe in werewolves.
Me too.
I am one. Rawr.
Ryan, I've always known this about you.
No, I am exposed.
Yes, that's actually while he pees.
That was the scariest thing that's happened all episode.
Yeah, okay.
I love college so much.
College is the real nightmare.
College is the real nightmare. Yeah. College debt is the real nightmare.
Yeah, jeez.
Guys, let's talk about real scary things. Let's talk for a moment about college debt.
Modern life.
Modern life. What are you afraid of, Nate? I'm afraid of Sally Mae.
I am also afraid of just debt in general and the job market. I'm afraid of the upcoming recession.
See, in my head, the job market is just Danny DeVito, but like 150 feet tall, but specifically his character from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. He's a man with infinite money, but he's just such a dick.
No morals.
No morals. Just like psychics. No morals. No morals. Nate and I feel that we owe you an explanation for our absence.
Over the last month, Ryan and I went on a journey into the unknown.
A journey into Cleveland.
A journey to find the truth.
A journey to punch ghosts right in the goddamn dick.
You heard correctly. The Paranormal Dick Punchers, a legendary, long-disbanded ghost hunting group, reformed in order to beat up the ghouls and ghosties and spooky scary skeletons walking this mortal plane.
Armed with only a super soaker filled with holy water, our wits, and a .44 Magnum, we ventured into the ghost capital of the world, Cleveland, Ohio.
The very thought of that accursed place filled us both with mortal dread. But there was work to be done. Little did we know that this adventure would take us on a month-long horror hiatus. The following accounts are dramatic readings from our own journals. November 2nd, 2019. When we first arrived in the rock and roll capital of the world, I was fully ready to roll the hell away from here. But we had a deal with the mayor to rid one of the city's most famous or infamous institutions of all their ghosts in exchange for ownership of the Cleveland Browns. Ryan and I checked into our haunted hotel and prepared for battle the next day.
On the way down, we stopped at a Sheetz. I had some pretty great jalapeno poppers and one of those Freel milkshakes. It was too thick, and I never drank it.
November 3rd, 2019. We arrived early at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in the sparkling twilight hours. We were after a litany of music legends whose hits and spirits refused to die. For years, rumors swirled on the internet of sightings of the portly phantom of Fats Domino stalking janitors and cafeteria workers. Sightings of Elvis that may have been a ghost or just someone with an identity crisis. Plenty of other ethereal spirits with heroin addictions had been sighted as well.
I was pretty stoked to go to Ohio. But upon arriving, I realized it was just like PA, but flat. My disappointment was mounting, and my hunger growing yet again.
Ryan and I set up our audio and video equipment and completely locked down the building. We were all alone in the realm of the dead, except for our intern Mikey, who was gone most of the night getting us coffee.
Mikey messed up my goddamn coffee order. I literally just ordered black coffee. How do you mess that up? I mean, seriously, he brought me horchata. That's not even coffee. It's just goddamn milk. That's like the opposite of coffee. Come on, Mikey.
We began by calling out to the spirit realm, asking for ghosts to manifest before us. When that didn't work, we loudly played ska music, a ghost and most people's worst nightmare, in order to draw them out. This worked much better than expected. Suddenly, paranormal phenomena was going on all around us. Bob Marley appeared before us, screaming at us to turn off that imitation shit. Bob Marley might have shot the sheriff, but we shot his ghost with a goddamn .44 Magnum and sent his soul to hell.
I thought it was a little extreme, but overall Nate seemed pretty badass. Also, I was a little distracted from some indigestion from some sliders I ate earlier. I don't even know where Nate got the gun, honestly. And I'm a little worried. Mikey just told me he doesn't know where Nate got the gun either. If you own a gun shop around South Central Pennsylvania, please call us if you've seen Nathan Willison.
After another few hours, Ryan and I were settling in for a lovely autumn sleep when our motion detectors were suddenly set off. We gathered our weapons and headed for the basement. As we approached the steps into the abyss, we could hear the chanting.
Everybody must get stoned. Everybody must get stoned.
Ryan began to join in on the chanting.
Everybody must get stoned.
I quickly slapped him, and we continued down the stairs. In the middle of the basement, standing in a pentagram made of electric guitars and cocaine, was Bob Dylan and the remaining members of Fleetwood Mac. We let out an audible gasp. Bob Dylan turned to us, his eyes red from the incense.
It was weed, Nate, not incense.
I'm bringing back the Beatles. John Lennon never gave me back my ecstasy. That was good stuff, the 70s shit. They don't make it like they used to.
Bob Dylan said. Without thinking, Ryan immediately sprayed those ghastly specters with the holy water. Fleetwood Mac dispersed with a hiss. and Bob Dylan crumpled to the floor.
I've been held together by Elmer's glue the past 20 years, boys. Unfortunately, the glue ain't waterproof. You know how I said hard rains are gonna fall? Well, it did fall. On me. And it was holy water. Fare thee well, boys.
And with that, he crumpled into dust. What did we just do? I asked.
Don't think twice.
Ryan said.
It's all right. I don't really know what I was thinking when I said that. It just seemed kind of cool in the moment.
The FBI questioned us for what felt like a year. Eventually, they let us go without charges, so long as we never told anyone about the event, with the exception of the 10 people that listen to this podcast. We never did gain ownership of the Cleveland Browns.
I still dream about those jalapeno poppers. So Nate, I think that's our show.
Yes, just remember to follow us on Twitter, @BoysNervous.
What do we post on that Twitter, Nate?
We post our videos, we post updates, we post fun, snazzy, snappy little things.
Exactly. We also got an email you can contact us at. That's nervouspodcast@gmail.com to just let us know what you think of the show or write in about experiences we should have. Tell us about your ghost experiences.
Yeah, just give us any feedback, any at all. Our intro is Squirrel Fever by Kristofsky.
And our new outro is Chances by Silent Partner.
And remember to like, comment, and subscribe on our YouTube channel. Sometimes we post little individual skits and snippets of the show.
Also, be sure to rate and review us on Stitcher and Apple Podcasts, as well as follow us on Podbean and comment on Podbean. You can do all of these things, by the way. You should do all of these things.
All of them. Don't forget a single one.
Nate, do you have any parting wisdom?
Always look that gift horse in the mouth. You don't know where it's been.
My name's Ryan Dennehy.
And I'm Nathan Willison.
Check back next week.
This episode is brought to you by the Wyoming Board of Tourism. Don't like people? Come to Wyoming.